But the majority of black churches do not teach the Old Testament.
Right.
But they go to the Old Testament for tithes. It don't make sense. Why aren't they telling you to keep the laws, the dietary laws? Why aren't they telling us that? If you can go to the Old Testament and tell me I got a tithe, and then you mess that up, why can't you tell me what I must eat in my diet?
The Old Testament is just not about tithing when they refer to the Old Testament. They go back at my church. I can't speak for everybody else's church. I ain't for the Jesus like I know the Bible back and forth. But
if you don't know an argument, I would suggest just learn. Because I'm coming from a perspective that I've been to
hard-body prophets. God talk, got the earth rocking. Doctrine killers quit to get it popping. You'll never be able to stop it. Watch this.
12 by 12, Israel on the rise. Represent this one for the tribes. In my head, dreams of Edom dying. This that Juven want that smoke.
You asked about tithing, correct? Why?
They say in church you're supposed to tithe.
You said who?
The pastor.
Okay, you said the pastor says that the church is supposed to tithe.
Yeah.
What about y'all? What do y'all think about that? Tithing.
Is it in the Bible, right?
Tithing, tithing is in the Bible. It is.
I'm saying it's your choice, though, right? Is it a choice?
But I'm asking, where did the pastor get that from that everybody has to tithe in the church?
I think it's like in Malachi. I don't know the verses, but Malachi says something about tithing.
Oh, would a man rob God? They ain't talking about
No,
tithing.
it said give 10% of your earnings.
Not in Malachi. Malachi goes into with a man rob God.
Is it Matthew?
No, I got you. Let's get it for you. Let's get the law of tithing, and let's see if the church is applying this properly or if they're taking it out of context. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14 and verse 22. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year.
So, what does a field bring forth?
Seed, like growing?
Crops, right? All right. We're going down the vein, right? Read.
And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there.
God chose Jerusalem. That's where he placed his name, right? Read.
The tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thy oil, and the firstlings of thy herds.
So, do you give your sheep to your pastor? Do you give wine to your pastor? Do you give corn? Do you give wheat? Because if they ask for tithes, you should come with a head of lettuce and be like, here you go, pastor. That's according to the scriptures, right? Keep reading.
And of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or it be the place be too far from thee.
So if you are too far away from Jerusalem, where you cannot carry that corn, that wine, or the herd is too far from you, what must you do? Read.
Which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there. When the Lord thy God have blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money.
You shall do what?
Then shalt thou turn it into money.
Wait a minute. So it says when it's too far away from you, like let's say you're way outside of Jerusalem, you still want to give your tithes, which is what? Your crops, your livestock, things of that nature, right? It says if it be too far for you, you got to travel. If the Lord bless you in that crop yield or your herd yield, what must you do? Sell it and turn it into money.
Right.
So it's telling you that tithes and money are two different things.
Right.
Tithes is not money.
Right.
Because how can you turn tithes into money if it's the same thing? Somebody lying in that church, read.
And bind up the money in thy hand, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose.
So you bind the money into your hand after you sold the goods, after you sold your crop, your wine, your corn, things of that nature, your herd. Now you got the profit from that. Now you're going to hold that money and you're going to go to the place that God chose, which is where? Jerusalem. Read.
And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thou soul lusteth after.
So now, when you get to Jerusalem, you know what you're going to do with that money? You're going to purchase the things that you sold before to get the right tithes for that offering. So you're turning tithes into money, which was gold and silver at that time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Then when you get to Jerusalem, because now wouldn't your way be light? Because now you don't have to carry corn, wine, all the herd. You don't have to carry none of that stuff. So now it's a lot easier to travel to Jerusalem. Then when you get there, now what you do? You purchase those same things back to then give tithes back to the Levites. Read.
For oxen, for sheep, for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desire, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God.
So right there, tithes is what? Tithes is livestock and crops.
Right.
Has nothing to do with money. Money is separate from tithes. Does that make sense? So, who told us that we have to pay tithes? And I want to ask y'all this. In the Christian church, they do profess that we don't have to keep the Old Testament, correct?
No, they go from old to new.
I don't. Most Christian churches, because we taught the church 2819, they will profess that you do not have to keep the Old Testament up and down. And then, even with that, a lot of churches in the United States, I can unequivocally say this, that black churches in the United States teach that you don't have to keep the Old Testament. They all teach that. I know the majority. The majority. Because I'm gonna show you why I say all. But I'm gonna say the majority for your sake. But the majority of black churches do not teach the Old Testament.
Right.
But they go to the Old Testament for tithes. It don't make sense. Why aren't they telling you to keep the laws, the dietary law? Why aren't they telling us that? If you can go to the Old Testament and tell me I got a tithe, and then you mess that up, why can't you tell me what I must eat in my diet?
The Old Testament is just not about tithing when they refer to the Old Testament. They go back at my church. I can't speak for everybody else's church. And I ain't finna see them like I know the Bible back and forth. But if you don't know an argument, I would suggest just learn. Because I'm coming from a perspective that I've been to many churches, mega and small. I'm gonna show you why I say all. I'm gonna say all. I'm gonna prove it true. Watch this. You can't.
In the Old Testament, right? What is sin?
I don't know.
Let's get sin real quick. Give me 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. 4 verse 3, I'm sorry.
They don't go teach the old.
I'm gonna show you why they don't. I'm gonna show you all churches.
You can't say that.
All churches do not teach God's commandments.
Right.
And we're gonna see what the Bible say. Read that.
Book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 4.
Read.
Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So sin is the transgression or the breaking of God's commandments. That's the law, correct?
Right.
Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 22 and 5. I want to see if your pastor taught you this.
Bring it out.
Because if I go against a commandment that God ordained of the Old Testament, then I will be in sin, correct? Or if God commanded me or my people to do a certain thing and I go against it, I'm in sin. It's just that simple. And how do you get right with God? You follow what He do.
Right.
Now read this.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5.
Bring it out.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
Read on.
For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So, what things belong to a woman that a man should not be wearing? So, what clothing, what article of clothing belong? You said dress. What else?
Purses.
Dress, purse. Yeah, they call them bag. Yeah, I got you. I got you. So purses, dress. What else belongs to a woman? Makeup. Okay. What else?
I ain't gonna stay here.
What about bra?
Yeah.
All right. Read that top part again.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
This is a law of God, right?
Right.
What article of clothing belongs to a man that women are not supposed to wear?
Bring it out.
Pants. Pants.
So when I'm supposed to wear was just skirt.
Hold on. It's that simple, right? Now, think about this. Y'all would argue me and say, there's such thing as female pants or women pants, right? It is, right? So is there such thing as a man's dress?
Kilt, I guess you would say.
Did you know that the kilt was outlawed? And it was actually defiance to wear a kilt? Did you know that? It was called the Highland dress. You can look it up. It was actually an act to defile the king, to say we ain't listening to you. So men start wearing Highland dresses. It's not supposed to be done amongst us. Because kilt, are we Irish?
Right.
No. So why even use that as an argument? You see what I mean? So with that said, the reason I say that all churches is because I see my sister here, my three sisters here, y'all wearing pants. And I'm gonna show you the origin where pants come from. Give me that real quick in Exodus 28. Just to show you, God he doesn't like cross-dressing. And what's being done today, right now?
So we cross-dress.
Yes, you're cross-dressing. And the definition of a cross-dresser, if I were to wear a dress, by definition, I would be a transvestite.
Right.
If you were to wear my garments, by definition, you are a transvestite.
Right.
A person that wears article of clothing opposite of their sex is a transvestite.
Right.
That's what it is. God says those are abomination to him.
Right.
Were you taught that in your churches? No, just be real. No, we wasn't. I know I wasn't.
Some churches, some sanctified
Well, sis,
churches.
if it was some, I should see it on you. Read that.
I'm not
The book of Exodus chapter 28 and verse 42. And thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness from the loins even unto the thigh. They shall reach and they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons.
You see that? Aaron and his sons. That's a male figure. They was wearing pants. We wasn't wearing no linen cloth, no toga.
Right.
That's what they put in imagery.
Right.
We wore pants. That's where you get breeches from.
Robes and stuff that the disciples wore.
They wore pants under that.
They wore stuff like
But sis, you said you didn't know the Bible, so how you know? Thank you. Thank you. Stop. Look. Stop.
No, don't try to
Don't do that.
I don't know nothing.
You don't know that? Because watch. Let's go to Exodus 25 now to show that they had robes and pants.
Right.
That's what I say. Don't make an argument if you don't understand if you don't really understand. I'm showing you. If you don't understand the subject matter, you have no leg to stand on.
Do y'all have a church?
We do.
Y'all have, what is it?
You got it?
I'm trying to understand what y'all are.
Hey, the royal garment with the breeches. I want it, Exodus 25?
42.
28:42. Let's get it.
You gotta refer somebody else to it. Y'all do.
All right, get it. Exodus 28:42. All right, so look. So with that said, there's dress codes that we all have to abide by. God commanded that. In today's standard, they're trying to get you to be against God's commandments.
Yeah, right.
That's why I say all churches don't teach God's commandments.
Right.
Do you know what these are? Do any one of y'all know what these are?
Come up.
This is Old Testament law. Give me number, after you get that, 28:4?
Yeah, that's the one with the...
Exodus 28:4. Sirach 45:8. That's the two I want. Read that.
The book of Exodus chapter 28 and verse 4.
And sis, I want y'all to listen. I really want y'all to learn this because we wasn't taught this.
And these are the garments which they shall make which they shall make a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a broidered coat, a mitre and a girdle, and they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons.
So with this holy garment being made, when you read later on in the chapter, they said the breeches were supposed to be upon the sons of Aaron. That's why I said what I said. You don't have no robe and it's just balls to the wall. Like, come on, who does that? Who going commando out here? For real. That's weird. And then it was open to the point where you can see the pants. That's why I said an open coat. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't know, I would rather you just say, hey, I don't know, enlighten me on something. Don't try to, and here's another thing. I said all churches. Give me Leviticus 14 real quick. About leprosy. Give me Leviticus 14. Because, yes, 13:40. Or 13, yes. Read it real quick. Because these are things that we're not taught. Read that.
The book of Leviticus chapter 13 and verse 30. The priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, the priest shall pronounce him unclean.
So check this out. Based off the fashion that's in United States. It says, before you go, I want you to hear this. Based off the fashion that's in United States, what is the term, what hair is suggested amongst our sisters when it comes to beauty? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Everybody wearing wigs.
Wigs, okay. I like that. What else?
Braids.
Braids. I'm talking about color.
What do you mean?
Natural color like black.
What was your question?
I'm asking, when it comes down to the standard of beauty in the United States, what do our sisters esteem like when it goes to color of hair?
Like blonde hair.
You said blonde? What else?
Blonde, green, pink.
All these different colors, right? What does blonde mean?
White.
You say white? Actually, blonde is French for yellow.
That right.
Check this out. Read it again.
Then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean.
So according to the law, our brothers and sisters were not supposed to have yellow thin hair, because if we did, we was considered unclean.
Bring it out.
There's a certain group of people that grows out of their head naturally. But in today's standard of beauty, our sisters aspire to have blonde hair.
Right.
It's a psychological mind trick to get you to look at their beauty and be like, oh, I want to be like them. But you was actually created out of the image or out of the beauty of the man. So again, you say you like it.
That's what I like.
Right.
I'm not trying to be like this.
Look. That's what you like.
Yeah.
But what about your Heavenly Father? Does he like that? No, he don't. He don't. It's considered unclean.
That's why they want the son that died for us so he can, for our sins. Like that's why he sent his son. So we can go around.
No, look, sis.
Do you understand?
Look. With that type of hair, I'm showing you, we went from clothing to fashion. God has laws on this stuff.
That right.
And I'm proving that all churches don't teach this.
Bring it out.
They don't. All churches don't teach this.
Right.
They don't teach you that you have to dress a certain way. They don't teach you the beauty of God. They don't teach you how to abstain yourself in God's commandments. They don't. So that's why I can unequivocally say all churches, especially in the Bible Belt, do not teach God's law.
Right.
Because if they did, I should see it on my brothers and sisters. That's why we're out here to show you how to apply God's law to your life.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.